I'm Tom Radulovich. I'm president of the BART Board of Directors. We began these negotiations in earnest on April 1. It was our hope as a board to get to a fair and equitable settlement. We worked hard to get there. We started very, very far apart from the unions. We started, we're looking at a 3-year contract. We were looking at a 4-year contract. The difference between them was about $240 million. We wanted a settlement by the end of June, so we moved. The BART district bargained in good faith. We brought them a proposal, our unions, that would have preserved all the benefits that they enjoy, the most generous benefit package in the region, as well as a wage increase in each of the 4 years. We brought them that at the end of June, and it was rejected. As you all know, in July, our unions went on strike. We got everybody back to the table on the 3rd of July, and we've been bargaining every day since then. Our team has been available trying to close this gap between our proposal and their proposal. So we got to this weekend. On Monday, we reaffirmed as a board that we've given the general manager the authority and the flexibility to settle this. We've given her a financial package and the ability to hopefully bring the sides together and solve this financial problem that we have working with our unions. Earlier today, it became apparent that we had 3 options. One option was to settle the contract this weekend. That was our first option. That's our preferred option. The other option we had was to reach out to the unions and say, all right, we're close. We're making progress this weekend. Shall we voluntarily extend? Our unions didn't accept that. Our third option was and our only option at this point to keep the trains rolling was to ask the governor for a cooling off period. So the governor has agreed. The way this works is there's a 7-day fact-finding period. It's a board of inquiry that's set up. We present them with the facts of the cases we see that. The unions will present the facts as they see it. We think the fact-finding itself is going to be important for the governor and for the public to understand. Public report will be issued. Then the governor will decide whether to extend the cooling off period to 60 days. And so, you know, for at least the next week, the trains will run. And if we settle in the next week, great. If not, the governor will decide then whether to give the 60-day cooling off period.
Mr. Radulovich, we
Yes.
hear 2 very contrasting views
Yes.
of what's happened. And it is difficult for us on the outside to understand which view should prevail. Can you give us a sense of why your view is the correct view and not that what they say, that BART has held everybody up at the bargaining table and refused to bargain with them as they say they've showed up for bargaining and there's no one to bargain with them. They harassed Mr. Was it Cook? Or your
Hawk.
Hawk.
Yes.
Mr. Hawk. They harassed him right out of the building today and down
Yes.
the street.
Yes.
They seem very, very angry at him, and they contend that this is a whole effort to union bust, to break up the union.
Yeah.
Why is there this incredible disparity between these 2 views?
I don't know. I've been here for 16 years, and BART labor negotiations are always contentious. These ones have been particularly contentious. As a board member, I can say it's often frustrating to feel like, you know, you're offering the best wage increases and the best benefits in the transit industry, and then to be accused of union busting. I think if you look at our latest offer and you compare it to what other public workers are getting doing the same jobs, you'll see it's a very generous offer. This is not a union busting offer. This is not a union busting board. We've been there negotiating in good faith. We've tried to be creative in terms of solving problems for them. You know, they've said, well, we want to, you know, come out ahead in each of the 4 years, and we've tried to be accommodating there. You know, we're catching a lot of flack though too. I mean, people are reading about the wages, people are reading about the overtime and the benefits, and they're like, you're being too generous. I don't think we are. I think our workers work hard. I think they deserve a fair settlement. I think they deserve to be well compensated. I think they deserve security after retirement, but there's limits. There are real financial limits to what this district can afford if we're going to maintain the service that we now have, if we're going to grow and expand to accommodate a growing ridership, and if we're going to begin to make the necessary capital investments we need to a 40-year-old system. So as directors, we need to balance these 3 things, you know, what our unions want, the needs of growth, and the needs of reinvestment. We feel like the offer that we've made is a generous and a fair one, but it's consistent with those 3 financial priorities.
Is there a sense that anything can happen to change the disparities that we're talking about on one side of the union and you're viewing it? Is there anything, I mean, we've had a 30-day cooling off period, we've had a strike, now we have a 7-day board of inquiry. What's going to resolve this? You're just going to keep beating each other until somebody says uncle?
Well, I mean, there's the very public beatings that we're taking. There's the very public focus on Mr. Hawk and on the general manager. But it was, the encouraging thing for me this weekend was actually seeing actual progress taking place, right? So there's the rhetoric and the theater around this. Then there's the, can we get to a deal? I'm confident that we can get to a deal if all the parties are willing to sit down and bargain in good faith.
The union said that they did not receive a reply to their economic offer from 10 o'clock last night till about 8 p.m. today, and that the offer they did receive was regressive, a worse offer in some distinctions than you had offered before. How do you characterize that, or can you?
We don't think we've put forward a regressive offer. We actually added a half percent wage increase. Which to our mind was not not a regressive offer. So I don't know, Grace, would you like to say any more about that? No, I mean, as we've been sitting here this weekend, our wage offer has continued to go up, and we've been working with them also on the pension and on the medical pieces to try and reach a deal. So we're not bargaining backwards; we're bargaining forwards.
When did you realize this wasn't going to get done?
I think we held out hope actually until the very last minute that it was going to get done. But sometime this afternoon, we started saying, well, what do we do if it doesn't? And we began to weigh those options.
With the cooling off period now, so it's a 7-day inquiry. The governor puts together a board. Do you know who this board is going to be? What?
We do, yeah. All of that's in the governor's letter, the 3 appointees to the board, and so on. So I believe also the mediators that have been involved in the mediations who will be involved in the Board of Inquiry.
And they basically decide whether it's going to be a 60-day cooling off period or a 30-day cooling off?
No, they actually don't decide that. They put together a report which they give to the governor, and the governor is ultimately the decider here.
Is this a public report? Is it?
Yes, yes. The entire contents of the report, meaning what both sides have submitted and their recommendation and their findings, will all be a public document.
Was there any solicitation of the governor's office, or did he just do this unilaterally?
We asked for this. Previously, one of our 3 unions had asked for a cooling off period. But if all 3 of our unions had asked for it, he could have granted it. The only way he was able to, though, do a cooling off that would affect all of our unions and therefore make sure the trains were running would be if BART asked for it. So that's why we made the decision to ask for this today.
Now, they said that the BART had the similar situation in 2001. Is that the last time that you've gone to the Board of Inquiry and the cooling off?
Did we do 2000? It was either 2001 or 2005.
I think 2001.
2001 was the last time, yeah. Then we've done it. It was a common practice, I would say, for many years. In other years, we've voluntarily extended, which we've offered to do numerous times in this negotiation, but we haven't had our unions accepting those offers. So we could have kept talking, but we figured, based on the responses that we've got to those, that really the only way to keep everybody at the table this time was this cooling off period.
We'll continue to talk even through this.
Yeah, exactly, and that's Director Keller made an important point. So the governor in his letter has said we want the parties to continue to talk. So we don't need to use all 60 days. We don't intend to use all 60 days. We would love to get a settlement in the next week. And in fact, we'd only asked the unions for a week extension. The governor, though, is limited by statute. His choices are 60 days or 0. So that's why this has to be 60 days. We don't think it need take 60 days.
Any other questions? So you guys can talk this week?
Absolutely, yeah. We're ready to talk as soon as tomorrow morning if the other side is ready to go. And yeah.
Just to clarify,
sure.
There cannot be strike at least for another 60 days?
If the governor grants the cooling off period. So there's an injunction effective immediately, and that'll run for the rest of the week for 7 days. And then if the governor grants the cooling off period, no strike, no lockout, all of our workers will continue to work under the existing contract.
So that 7-day clock starts when?
It starts effective as soon as as soon as the letter arrived, yeah.
What time was that?
About 10 this evening.
The
Yeah,
lieutenant governor was involved in negotiations today.
yeah, he visited the negotiations today.
Was that because you guys knew that you might be asking for this cooling off period? Was he involved with that?
No, he just volunteered to go over there. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.